Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. My wife and I just saw Superman, the new Superman movie, and I got excited, and I thought I would talk about it. And before we talk about it, I'll filibuster a bit, see if anybody wants to come in. Here is an open invite. If anybody wants to pop in and talk about the new Superman movies, there will be spoilers. There's no way I could talk about this without spoilers. So, hey, Dave, how you doing? How's it going? Dave's my buddy, lives around here. How's everything? Just so you know, there's 6 days left on the Heroic Tales campaign. I, if you want to guarantee, a couple people told me they're going to wait till I'm actually shipping, which I totally understand. But the campaign tells me how many to print. So if you order them after the campaign, I can't guarantee that there will be enough. So if you want to guarantee an issue, now is the time to back. It's happening. It's art is finished. The campaign is closing, and we just got to do some lettering and some pre-press and last minute editing and things like that. How you doing, Ernest? How's it going? I already saw that. So again, here is the link if anybody wants to come in and talk Superman with me. Let's go down. We got Ernest. We got Ben Samar, voice actor. How you doing? Howdy. You went last week. What did you think? What did you think, Dave? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Well, like I said, I'm just trying to let people filter in. Filibuster for a minute. Here is just a still from the picture. I guess I'll start with nitpicks. Phil Ailing, how you doing? Good to see you, Phil. Good to see you, Phil. Let's see. What do you want to talk about? Should I just start talking? It's already 8:30, and I got to go to bed in an hour for work. All right, so let's talk about. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was the most comic book movie I've seen that I could just think of right now. I'm sure if I sat and scrutinized and thought of everything, I could think of a better comic book movie. But it was, when I say comic book movie, I mean it was most like a comic book. They embraced it. They committed to the bit. They went last weekend. I enjoyed it. We saw it in IMAX 3D too, my wife and I. So it wasn't really made for 3D, but it was fun to see it in 3D. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. So, did you like the movie?
I really did. Did.
Good. Are you a Superman fan? For those of you who don't know, this is my buddy Dave. Dave lives by me. He's the dungeon master. Although I've never played with you as the dungeon master.
Yeah, we got to fix that.
Yeah, we got
to do a one shot.
I'm a terrible player. I'm telling you right now.
Me too.
That's why I'll be on my best. I'll be on my best behavior.
I'll give you some leeway.
I'll say this: I'm a terrible player when we're playing villains vigilantes, because I'm like, that's not how the rule goes.
Fair.
Especially like the what edition Dungeons Dragons do you play?
The newest one.
Oh yeah, so I can't be a backseat driver. I haven't played beyond second edition. So we got Keely Chow. How you doing, Keely? How's it going? What's going on? We're talking about Superman. So my wife bought tickets. We saw it in IMAX 3D.
Yeah,
and then we went out to dinner afterwards. So it was a nice Superman day. And again, I don't want to bury the lead. I absolutely loved it, and I will be super controversial and say that this is my favorite Superman movie. What do you think, Dave?
I agree. Out of all the Superman movies, this one I really hated it.
Yeah,
one I really have to look for things to nitpick about. There was nothing that took me out of the immersion. I thought it flowed well. The pacing was well. And
that's one of my nitpicks is there was no rest.
I kind of like that in movies these days.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I feel like rest. Sometimes they bring it too low. You know what I mean? Or that rest is too stretched out or unnecessary.
I know it's blasphemy because we're going to talk about the Donner Superman movies as the definitive Superman movie, and I don't disagree. Here's where I'm going to get a little weird. The Donner movie was cinema.
Yeah.
This is a comic book movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that Donner movie to me is a work of art it's a piece of American cinema. It's film history, because, in my opinion, we wouldn't have any superhero movies without the Superman Donner film. It was needed at the time. It legitimized comic books that could be it legitimized comic book movies.
Yeah.
That was the kind of movie that like artsy fartsy film critics would see and be like, that was a good movie. Now the sequels are another story, but the first Superman movie was what was needed at the time. Just like Batman '89, a movie that I just can't stand. That was what was needed at the time. But
yeah, I can see
as
that.
far as picking up a Superman comic book and throwing it on the screen, this movie was a comic book.
Yeah. I liked how they introduced it. Everything was like established already. Wasn't another origin story or a big build up. The villain was already winning the battle. So it's very interesting. It left you like wanting to know more.
In an age, there's a woman on the internet called That Star Wars Girl, and she loves Henry Cavill. So she's just upset that Henry Cavill is not playing Superman. And you know what? This movie would have been better with Henry Cavill playing. Henry Cavill is good. This guy is second choice Henry Cavill, if you ask me. I want to address some of these comments. Oh, we got story time with friends. We liked it. The Life was not a comic book person. Thought the Lex Luthor actor was yelling his lines too often in the second half of the movie. I'll get back to the. I'm not just Pollyanna that I love everything. There's nitpicks.
Yeah.
And believe me, Superman is my favorite comic book character. So I went into this movie looking for nitpicks. My biggest concern was I didn't want to get preached to, and it didn't preach to me. So So
yeah, I was a little worried about that because last minute I saw some of the directors were getting a little preachy with their moment of spotlight, and I kind of felt like it was just that, the moment of spotlight, and they were using it for their own. And I was like, because otherwise I feel like you would have saw it more in the trailer, more messaging in the trailer, and you didn't see that. So I was like, I feel like this guy's just ruining things.
Yes, you
could promote your movie. Like you could do that on Twitter.
I'll ask my wife over here. She's more strict with that. Could Matt take his children to see the Superman movie?
Oh, it was filled. The theater was filled with.
Yeah, the movie was filled with children.
There was nothing like suggestive. The only thing was the one part with someone showing their finger during a fight.
Yeah, Green Lantern had a Green Lantern construct that showed the finger. If you're okay with that, you're okay with them. They said shit a couple of times, which kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, but whatever. Yeah. It didn't bother me until Superman repeated it. Superman should never curse.
Yeah.
I'll say this. My wife and I are old farts, and we sat down, and little kids came and sat next to us, and we both looked at each other like, oh, man. But as soon as the movie started, these kids watched. They were enthralled.
That's
so,
good.
Matt, there you go. And, Matt, if you want to come in and talk.
That's a testament. I mean, right there, just seeing that little kids are sitting through it and not being distracted. That says a lot.
Card set was charismatic and hit the right notes. I will say this. This role was written for him. It was a younger, inexperienced, more naive, more sweet Superman than Henry Cavill. So Henry's a good actor, but I think physically he's more mature. Like this Superman is almost Superboy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. He's like
and it worked with what they were trying to do with this Superman, and more on that later. I went into this movie not liking him just because he wasn't Henry Cavill, and by the end of the movie, I bought him as Superman. He has like a little walleye thing going on every once in a while. They do close-ups. I'm like, they shouldn't be doing close-ups on his face, but other than that, he won me over. For the most part, it's kid-friendly. There might be some scary parts. Okay, there's scary parts, but we forget the scary movies, Dave.
Yeah.
I know you're younger than me, but man, go find some of those movies that we watched as a kid that were full on for children.
Oh yeah. I mean even the movies that are not necessarily scary, but were just like a lot of innuendos or even cursing. I mean, Spaceballs was PG.
Right.
That movie wasn't for kids.
Go watch some of the early movies. I'm trying to think of one right now, but first off, children like to be scared in a safe environment.
Yeah. It's very minor.
Go watch. Oh man, Empire Strikes Back scared the crap out of all the kids in the movie theater. When that snow monster came and fought Luke. Obi-Wan chopped the arm off that guy in the bar in Star Wars. You know what I mean? Kids can handle it. Kids
if they can watch that, this is nowhere in that ballpark.
There's no. This is akin to cartoon violence.
Yeah,
Matt. Yeah, take the kids. Take the kids to go see it. Yes, absolutely. Take the kids to go see this. People will see whatever political focus they bring to the actual ideology. Yes, my biggest fear and the reason why I waited was I did not want to go sit down, see Superman, who's my favorite superhero of all time, and then be preached either leftist politics or right-wing politics. I didn't want to be preached politics. The politics in the movie were comic book politics. Now, if you interpret it one way or another, that's on you.
Yeah, you really reached, I feel like.
And I was trying to interpret everything. Oh, look, all the poor oppressed nation is all brown people, and the leaders of all the oppressor nations are all, I was like looking at all that stuff, but
that's
they kind of made it like Russian people were invading like an Indian nation kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think James Gunn was trolling with political statements, and okay, I'll buy that. That to me, that almost chased me away. So that was kind of a risky stunt.
I definitely chased some people away. I know that because I've heard them say it. They're like, "Oh, I'm not going to see that. It's probably whatever."
I counted. They said shit 3 times, and the only time it bothered me is when Superman said shit. During that interview with Lois, it got a little hot.
Technically, they say bitch at the end if you consider that.
Yeah, but Guy Gardner says it, right?
The Superwoman, Supergirl.
Oh yeah, Supergirl. That's one of my nitpicks. She is perfect casting physically, though. Oh my god, she was born to play Supergirl.
I did like that because they explained the dog's behavior of just being so untrained. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Superman shouldn't have any cursing. Yes, I do agree. I do agree.
Yeah.
I mean, no movie, even the Donner movie, I have criticisms of, like that whole. If I was just telling my wife, if I saw the Donner movie in the movie theater many times because I love Superman, and that whole the 1978 movie, Lois Lane accidentally asked Superman how big his penis is. They got that scene out on TV, but if you've seen it in the movie theater, she says to him, "How large are you?" And he goes, "Excuse me." She goes, "I mean, how big are you?" And she blushes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you see it in the movie, she just goes, "How tall are you?" You know what I mean? There was suggestiveness, and that whole "Can you read my mind?" scene. That, as a little kid, I tuned out. I was, looking at the movie theater walls, going, "I wonder, how much water if we filled this movie theater with water, could we fit a whale in here?" That's what I'm thinking of during that scene.
That's funny.
That was not for kids, but that was for the artsy fartsy stuff. So,
I like the choice for Perry White too. I'm a big fan of that actor, so that was nice.
Superman 2025, the traditional Superman we need, Man of Steel was bad. Superman Returns was the least. Man of Steel, Superman Returns was the worst. It was the problem with that movie was Superman. In that movie, first off, it was boring. A Superman movie should not be boring. If you're saying Superman was boring, that is the worst possible thing you could say. Second off, he wasn't super. He wasn't admirable. He was a deadbeat dad. The most heroic person in the Superman Returns movie was the guy who played Cyclops, the human guy who was the super cuck. He was the one that was banging Lois Lane after Superman left. He took risks because he didn't have superpowers.
Yeah.
I hated that movie. Superman, Man of Steel, that was just a fundamental, and I know that there's people probably in this chat that love that movie, but to me, that was just a fundamental misunderstanding of Superman. And, Now, I'll list some of the criticisms of this. First off, it was a constant roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
And I know some people like that, but it would have been nice to have like the slowest part was when Superman was brought home and he's laying in his bed.
Yeah.
But that was like an emotional part because that was when Lois Lane realized this guy's the real deal. I really like that scene. She's looking around at how wholesome his bedroom is. His favorite band is the band she's making fun of.
Yeah.
That
was really cool.
Punk rock, that's just corporate, blah, blah, blah. And Superman's like, but I really like them. And then she goes home and there's a poster on the wall, the crab apples or something like that.
Yeah. That was great.
I really got all like a little bit clumped at that scene. And that was like, she was like, He's a good whole. They treated Superman well in this movie. He was hopeful. He was naive but not stupid. Like he even said that you think the best of people, and he goes, but they're all beautiful. And then Lois Lane realizes I'm the one who's wrong. You know, when she says, you know, I'm raised on punk rock, I question everything. She goes, you're naive. You think you love everybody. And he goes, yeah, but everybody's beautiful. I love that. That won me over right there.
I'm really happy to hear that you liked it, because you were one of the people that was like, well,
yeah, everybody. A lot of people have been asking me what I think, because I nitpick everything.
Yeah.
Another nitpick, and this is a nitpick. The Superman's S, I just can't get past it. You know, it's because the S, it's just a band across. Like, this is Superman, because you could see the S, and you see how there's borders around here. The borders form the S. The only way, like, if this was the first time you saw this symbol, you wouldn't recognize it as an S. We only recognize it as an S because we have 60 years of the real Superman symbol. Like,
that's a good point.
You know, it's like the Family Guy. It insists upon itself. This Superman symbol insists that you know who Superman was before you came into the movie. So,
oh wow.
Yeah,
that's a really good observation. I need to see.
Yeah, the unnecessary lines kind of drive me crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can see it right here on Superman's sleeves, but the costume, the colors were perfect. There was one scene when he was knocked down, and the trunks were a little oversized. They were like wrestlers' trunks, like old-fashioned. And I said, if they could just fix that symbol, this is a great Superman outfit. The colors were good. Johnny liked it. What you were saying is they kind of just started full on, and what I think is rare in today's movies is they didn't treat the audience like idiots. Yeah. They didn't explain it. They just jumped full on into the action. They gave you a little bit of a scroll, like almost like Superman, like, you know, 4 or 5 sentences, brought you up to speed, and boom.
Yeah.
You know, I purposely didn't explain anything to my wife because I was curious to see, but, you know, she picked up who Guy Gardner was. She picked up who, you know, Metamorpho was. All of these characters, you know, she was not confused. She loved Mr. Terrific. Man, did he was perfect.
He's so great.
And one of the things that she's over here going, Mr. Terrific was great. One of the things that I just appreciate so much was, I've been saying this a lot, commit to the bit. Yeah. If you're going to do Superman, if you're going to do anything, you got to commit to the bit. And they totally did. There was one scene where Lois and Mr. Terrific, they're inside the boom tube, and they're talking about pocket dimensions. They're just talking total nerd physics with no winks to the camera, no nods like this sounds, you know, they were just delivering these lines, and they were good actors, and they committed to everything about that actor of Mr. Terrific sold every line. This Lois Lane was outstanding.
Yeah.
She was beautiful to look at. She had, with that whole line of like, I grew up punk rock and I question everything, and you love everything, and or you just think everything's beautiful. That described so much. Like, they really did a lot with a little bit of dialogue. It was really good. Boom tubes. They had boom tubes. See, I didn't want to keep leaning over and whispering stuff to my wife, but this movie, a continuity freak like me, there was so much stuff in it. From they passed by a bulletin board that said Big Belly Burgers. Big Belly Burgers was the franchise in the Justice League, Wahaha League, that they all were going to, like things like that. There was a street sign that said Gotham City one way. You know, there was a whole bunch of little nods. The streets had a comic book creators, Superman writers and artists on it. And okay, so Matt, to answer this question, Lex Luthor had these interdimensional tubes, like they would open up and they were round, and you went in them. They made an explosion, and they opened up and you were someplace else.
Yeah. And
they had these square boxes, these computers that controlled them. And he had a raptor squad that looked suspiciously like parademons, and they traveled through another dimension that was like a apocalyptic dimension. They're setting up Darkseid for the next movie. We're gonna find. I'm 100% believe that the next movie we're going to find out Lex Luthor is the secret. I mean, not Lex Luthor. Darkseid is the secret benefactor behind Lex Luthor and all its technology.
Ah, okay.
That's what do you think? Do you think I'm crazy?
Yeah, no, that's a good
Yep.
theory. I like that theory.
So again, Matt, you didn't see the movie. I'm giving spoilers deluxe. You know, they had a Martian in the movie. They had a white Martian, the guy who's driving that flying skid. You know, it Lex looked right at him when he called. He goes, Martians like you, and he looked, you know, and he goes, Kryptonian. He goes, same difference, which is a thing that I've been saying, that the Martians and the Kryptonians have the same powers. There has to be some sort of past. You know, I think they're hinting at that. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I love that. And the big problem of the Kryptonian speech, you were sent here to breed, and we never actually saw the Kryptonians give that speech. What we saw later on was footage that everybody told us was true. You're going to tell me there's still an out? Lex Luthor still could have fabricated it. Just because,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So
absolutely,
that could have been Lex Luthor fabricating this whole thing. And James Gunn isn't going to say. I almost guarantee that the next movie, we're going to find out that the controversial, you know, Jor-El and Lara sent Clark to Earth to intermarry and cause a harem. That was all made up because
you had that what's her name, and she was in the system and hacking it with, you know,
right. She was hacking it, and then we cut away. The next time we hear about it, it's other people talking about it on the news.
Yeah, and it's basically a hologram and audio, and that we're not talking
and
about
then,
like
we got
tech.
17 experts and us that all confirm. And Mr. Terrific just goes, if they say it's real, it's real. But
again, it's like Lex Luthor is like own company is saying it's real, like, so
right.
You know.
Lex Luthor had like, he has the money to bribe these people. He has
Yeah.
leverage on these people.
He could have bought it, the company.
Right. Or he has apocalypse technology and could trick them all. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
The secret of Ultraman, I knew almost immediately, you know, and I'll give people a couple of seconds if they want to know about, not to be, but, you know, because I was like, this isn't the Ultraman from the comics. That's the alternate version from another dimension. It's Bizarro. And not only is it Bizarro, it's also Doomsday.
Oh, okay.
It had the Doomsday costume with the goggles and everything like that. It's cloned Kryptonian DNA, you know. So they're setting up the next movie for Bizarro and Doomsday. It's all the continuities. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think it's all there. They're doing a really good job. Crypto misbehaving was kind of cute. My wife loved it. You know, I like the fact that I would have liked the dog to be a little bit more intelligent.
Yeah, I could see that.
Great.
Yeah, my wife.
Floppy ears.
I'm going to assume. Yeah, in my mind, it's a fabrication until you know, you know, because if you'll see what it makes sense when you see the movie. You never actually. It's not like you see the body laying there, you know, with the knife sticking out. He's dead, Jim.
Yeah.
You never see that. You see them hacking in, and then 20 minutes later, the news is talking about the message.
Two things I really liked was I expected there to be other superheroes in the movie, so that was a pleasant surprise, and how they just like introduced them as, you know, everyone knows who they are. And I also love the scene when he's talking with Lois, and there's that big astral eyeball flying around. They're fighting in the background, and it's just like, it's to show, like, yeah, he deals with Superman type problems all the time. Right. It's not just like once in a blue moon a supervillain comes around. Right.
There's constant threats. The whole world is infested with you know, it's like the comic books. You know, there's magical threats. There's space alien
minor threats. Or major and stuff.
And
like that. So I really like that. Yeah.
Green Lantern was dealing with it in the background, and you also knew without them saying it that Superman was also monitoring.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he needed to get involved in that fight, and then that's a perfectly good scene to, because here they're talking about like their relationship, who they are, you know, big emotional things, but in the background there's a flying eyeball and Green Lantern. And they're referencing it. He goes, that's just an imp from another dimension over here that, you know, Green Lantern's got. And then they go back to this emotional conversation. They totally committed to the bit.
Yeah, and I liked it because it was a little bit of a slow down moment, but they wanted to like also keep you entertained of like there's something going on in the background. But it was also a good moment that they had between the two.
Yeah. Guy Gardner, it was comic book accurate. You know, that's what he looks like in the comic book, like it or not. I know you could nitpick that the constructs weren't connected by a line from his ring. Okay, you know, things like that. But that's a nitpick. But I'll agree with you. And he acted like a regular guy. He wasn't totally obnoxious Guy Gardner. That was like, because, you know, this was all left wingers writing what a right winger would act like. So of course they made him unlikable. Guy Gardner was a jerk, but a lovable jerk. You know, there was something about the Hawk. People made me think that the Hawk Girl was going to be more annoying. She wasn't annoying. She was good.
Yeah, she's good. She's a good actress too.
And she was good. She's too small though. You know, she's like Parrot Girl rather than Hawk Girl. You know, Hawk Girl should be physically bigger, but
yeah, I can see that.
The engineer, oh my God, what a body on that girl! I you know, that scene when they were fighting in the ballpark, I just said that girl must have been working out before they poured her into that outfit. You know, she looked good. Yes, she didn't look comic book accurate, but comic book accurate couldn't really fit in a PG movie or a kid-friendly movie. A lot of people complain that Superman was constantly getting beaten down through the whole movie, but they explained that at the beginning.
Yes.
Lex has been studying him for 3 years. Lex is a genius, and I still firmly believe if you watch the movie carefully, there's hidden apocalypse technology. Lex had him on the ropes.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason Superman won is because Lex couldn't intellectually comprehend that Superman was intelligent. He had to. His ego wouldn't let him think that Superman would be smart.
Yeah,
and that's how, and that was excellent. You know, but Lex had him on the ropes at every point, and at no point did he let him get super powered. But then Superman did a couple of clever stunts, like fall into the earth.
Yeah,
and then Lex realized what he was doing. Lex, and another thing is, that actor Holt. Why can't I think of his first name? He supposedly in an interview that I read, he always wanted to be Superman when he was growing up. Nicholas Holt, yes. He always wanted to be Superman, and then he finally gets in the movie and he's Lex Luthor. So he said he used that envy.
That's great.
As the character.
Well, I thought he made a good envious Lex Luthor.
He was
a little bit yelly, but you know that's all right.
But that's another nitpick. Is his voice got on my nerve? He didn't have the actor who played Lex Luthor in the animated series had a great, commanding, deep, operatic voice. That you need that to be a villain. He kind of had a whiny voice. If you know he looked he had this menace. A couple of times he had that smile that you just wanted to smack.
Yeah,
Lex Luthor.
He was perfect.
Yeah, he was good.
He was a dick.
Yeah. I felt the same way about the message. The first part makes no sense if you have the second part. Yeah. Someone complained about it, and I pointed out Superman isn't going to be at every robbery. He wouldn't eat or sleep. Yeah, Superman needs to rest. I'm trying to think. There was a couple other nitpicks, but for the most part, there were nitpicks. And the big criticisms, I didn't like that Supergirl goes to other planets and gets drunk in parties. You know, Supergirl is supposed to be a goody-goody. If that was Power Girl, I'd be like, more. That's what Power Girl does.
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with Supergirl to say, but I enjoyed it.
And I like that. Well, I didn't like because Superman has Krypto, Supergirl has Streaky. So for Krypto to be Supergirl is kind of like a disconnect, but it explains the behavioral problems in Krypto.
Yeah, which I'm glad they did because it was like because I'm like, how does the Superman who's so strict and like he's very organized have this dog that's a mess? So.
I like the Fortress of Solitude. I like the robots.
Oh, I love.
Yeah, that was probably my only nitpick was like I don't ever recall Superman having robots in many of the comic books.
He did. But... He has robots. They don't. I don't.
Were the ones he made, or were they just with him? Or So
it depends on. Remember, Superman's been rebooted a few times.
yeah, sure.
So
I don't know
the
what the
John
staple
Byrne
is.
wrote. He had little floating droids that had like tentacles that other versions he had humanoid, and other versions
Okay.
he had robots that looked exactly like Superman.
Oh yeah,
You
that's
know,
right. Yeah, I forgot
and they
about
just
that.
had numbers instead of S's. So, Superman always had robot assistants in the Fortress of Solitude.
Okay.
Uh, what did I miss? We're talking about Superman. We've been talking for 30 minutes about Superman, the movie. Um, the Superman, the animated series, is still my favorite non-comic book Superman. So comic books, are my favorite. Actually, I take it back. The Paul Dini verse, the animated Batman series and the Superman series, and that's like my favorite DC representation. Comic books, everything. This is my second. I thought this was a good Superman movie with flaws, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I liked it. I got emotional a few times, but my favorite part was that Superman himself was a good, wholesome guy. Like in that fight with the engineer in the ballpark, I loved that Superman was going, "It's not too late for you. We could stop this. We could, you could turn yourself into a war." And as soon as, even though Superman knew that like he was set up for an arrest, he turned himself in.
Yep.
Because he's a good guy, and that Lex Luthor played on that. The big kaiju monster, Superman wanted to take it out without killing it, and then Mr. Terrific just comes and wastes it, and Superman just looks so,
Yeah. He's like, we could have taken it here and studied it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, the wholesomeness of his actions.
The woman who played Lois Lane, perfect casting.
Rachel something.
Brosnian or something like that.
Yeah. She had an Amazon show about being a comedian that was very, very well done from
first, like I know the actress is like super sexy, but they made her look like good looking in a regular girl way. You know what I mean? Like she looked like a good looking normal woman rather than a movie star. She was like, Lois Lane is always plucky. John Byrne made Lois Lane unlikable. I couldn't stand John Byrne's Lois Lane. But this Lois Lane, they made her plucky. They made her a good foil for Superman at times, but she wasn't unlikable. They did a really good job walking that line.
And I even liked how she was doing her questioning and professional and like a real journalist and being like, oh, this is, you want me to do my job? Well, this is it. Taking the gloves off. But I like that scene. It captured her well.
Am I the only one who thinks she's a little too old to be dating Clark? It's funny because I thought that, but the scene when Clark was cooking, and then she turned around and you saw how big the actor is. Like he has a boyish face, but like he's a pretty big guy. Yeah, he does. He does look boyish. But maybe she is older. I don't know, but I didn't think that. But here is my biggest complaint in the movie, and it's probably going to make people laugh. The S was my second biggest complaint. Jimmy Olsen's unlikable. I just couldn't stand Jimmy Olsen. He's just like a user. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought it was just a plot convenience because without Eve Tessmacher being head over heels for Jimmy Olsen, like they set it up like the two girls in the office were ogling Jimmy. He walks down the street, the prostitutes are all ogling Jimmy, and then you find out it's Miss Tessmacher that's like obsessed with him, and she, oh my God, what a knockout she was. Lex Luthor's girlfriend. But there was like no setup. It was almost like a coincidence that came out of nowhere. Like how they didn't set up that Jimmy was, because they make him look like a goofy, and then everything I know about Jimmy Olsen, Jimmy Olsen is always like hard luck kind of guy, and all of a sudden, just every woman just wants him. Like
Yeah,
it
everything.
wasn't set up too well. So it almost
Yeah.
like the whole movie depends on something that wasn't really well made or really
Yeah,
set up or
That-
explained or believable.
yeah, that was my biggest complaint as well. Was
Yeah.
probably the whole news, the scenes, that and like just how easy they were flying spaceships. But
Well, that was just it. Like,
yeah.
I think Carl Sagan said, like, the more advanced the technology, the easier it would be to use.
Yeah,
So I could see Mr. Terrific's ship would be like easy to fly. That fight scene where Mr. Terrific took out all of the people on the army.
that's what it was with
That was awesome.
with Olsen. You were saying with the girlfriend,
Right.
Like it was something I saw right at the beginning. The way she took her selfie, I was like, that was intentional. That was too like on the nose. And then they kept showing her doing it at like key moments. I'm like, that's we're coming back to that for some reason.
Yeah, I just bought it. I didn't even think, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out everything. Like, oh, why'd they do this? Why'd they do this? And that totally.
I just didn't expect it to be like,
Yeah.
how are they getting that the crossover was going to be him? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's what I was like. Okay,
I
that's
did
weird.
I did not get that.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for her, Miss Taskmaster. You know what I mean? Like, she's with one manipulative guy, and then she's just being manipulated by another guy.
You're right, actually. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it or not, Jimmy has good intentions. He's saving the world, but he's still manipulating basically a lovely, damaged woman. So I that to me just makes Jimmy Olsen ultimately unlikable. Like, is it that hard to spend the weekend with a woman who looks like that because she has funny looking toes?
Yeah, it was very weird. That whole relationship was weird. I'm like, am I supposed to feel bad for him? Like, I don't understand. Like a weekend, like they but they didn't even like hit that like she burned his car down last time they went, or something to be like why he doesn't want to spend a day, let alone a
I
weekend.
bet you $20 in the next movie they're gonna explain it, and you know what the explanation is gonna be? It's the easiest explanation in the world. He's gay.
I guess. Yeah, I guess that would be it. But then it just makes him worse because then he's been dating her for strictly info or whatever.
Well, that's what he was doing. Even if he was,
I mean, that's just even worse, though.
I
mean, at least the first time, at least when we saw it, he was trying to save the world. What about the first time? Yeah, that'd be weird.
Through his ears. Tony Grigo says he has so many problems with the movie, but tell us some of the problems. Tell us some of the problems. It's not perfect, but
what is?
To me, it's one of the best superhero movies. The
Yeah.
Daily Planet being a decent legacy media company is more outlandish than the human look. Yeah, everybody says that. Maybe that to remind us, like, they tried to address that by showing people reading newspapers and scenes. Like, in that alternate Earth, people still do read newspapers. But when Jimmy went to publish, if you notice, he said on the web, socials, print. Like they made it. They were showing that, maybe whatever, old fogies still get the newspapers. Lois came off as lesbian, but I think it's just the. I didn't. I thought she was.
I didn't think so.
I thought.
No, I didn't think so.
Especially that scene where they kiss and float, like, and especially in the scene in Clark's bedroom with the parents and Clark's all beat up. She just like, I don't know. I really bought that. All of a sudden, she just was like, I'm the cynical bad guy, and we should be more like him.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's not just preaching it. He's walking it. Like, he lives it. Like the walls were proof of.
Yeah,
he's been like this his whole life. This is not just him putting on an act for her, or just saying, But in reality, he never does. But all that the history was on the wall.
Yep.
So,
yes, I like the movie a lot. It's my favorite Superman movie so far. Yeah. I expect a lot of it is I lowered my expectations because I was prepared to hate it.
True.
The humor, like, I expected James Gunn goofy humor, and they toned it down. They toned it down.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little slapsticky, like kind of like or a Ragnarok or whatever. The Thor movie.
like Guardians of the Galaxy was just filled with humor, and
Yeah.
And it worked for Guardians of the Galaxy. But even though this was a James Gunn movie, they toned it down. I thought there was like the correct amount of humor, and the humor wasn't just like that's gonna leave a mark, like yeah. Hey Tony, you have problems?
Hey, John. Yeah, I didn't particularly like it as much as most people did.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple of things. Lex Luthor being a 12th level intellect, smartest man in the world, allowing his girlfriend to take pictures of his evil plans.
Yeah.
Not noticing that. The fact that the Justice, what was it? The Justice Friends, Justice Gang, that's essentially Guardians of the Galaxy. Superman is Star-Lord. You have 90 minutes of Superman getting his ass kicked and crying intermittently in between.
See, that didn't bother me because they used established Superman weaknesses.
Yeah. I just wanted to see him fly and do stuff, not get his.
But I also don't want to read a Superman comic book where he just breezes through everything without a challenge. Like they established that Lex was studying him from years and finally unleashed this plan when he was ready. We didn't have to watch an 80s montage of Lex Luthor like getting his face smashed and everything, and you know what I mean? Like they treated us smart enough to understand this has been going on for a long time, and this is Lex's master plan. And again, the Lex's arrogance was his downfall. He didn't think that anybody was as smart as him. He, in his mind, Eve Tessmacher was a dummy, and he didn't even consider the idea that she was betraying him. He was threatening her with, "I'm going to imprison you in Apocalypse." She knew it to be the case.
What about the monkeys?
Yeah, that was funny. I thought that was a funny joke.
Really? I thought that was like, dude, you got canceled. Get over it. Get off the internet. He still can't shake that. He's still pissed off about that.
Well, I looked at his Comicsgate. We got a bunch of angry monkeys typing nonsense. That is the internet.
Possibly, and then there was a hot girl making bird sounds. Let's see, what else did I have a problem with? I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was one of those films that I watched once. Probably won't watch it again. Definitely won't, ever own it.
I'm buying the DVD and watching it again. I like it.
I mean, do you feel the same way about all the other Supermans? In comparison, are you saying? Do you think there's better ones?
Honestly, I'd much rather watch Superman Returns than this one again.
Really,
and Superman Returns is boring.
He's my least favorite. I mean, it's not even. I actively despise that movie.
Did it bother you that they turned him into a Vitramite? Go conquer, take wives.
I addressed that already. I don't buy that.
I don't buy that either because it was part of the whole plan for him to be brought in.
At no point did they show them giving that speech. We saw the first half of the speech. You saw the engineer going into the computer console, and then you see Lex, and then we see the news talking about that speech. And then 17 scientists all agreed that this couldn't be faked. And then Mr. Terrific goes, if they said it could be faked, it can't be faked. But we learned through COVID, scientists can be bought, they could be cajoled, they could be this.
Mr. Terrific didn't actually look at it himself.
Right. So, Mr. Terrific didn't study it. They didn't have time. And I still think that all the seeds are laid that Lex Luthor is being sponsored by Darkseid. They had boom tubes,
possible
boxes, and you're going to tell me that Darkseid couldn't fake this message?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Holding out hope that the second half of that message is
what about the drunk party girl Supergirl?
That I didn't like. That I didn't like. Not enough to hate the movie. First off, I think that woman is perfectly cast as Supergirl.
Yeah, but she doesn't act like her though.
Yes, that's not the actress's fault. I'm beyond blaming.
I feel like they've like rewritten Supergirl for the modern age.
But that's Tom King. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm a little wary about going forward with Supergirl. Like,
I got a question for you, John. Do you think, as goofy as this movie is, how do you think Batman's going to fit into this? Because I mean, the only Batman that would fit for me in this universe would be Adam West or one of the Joel Schumacher Batmans. You know, it's such a goofy.
I think if first off, go for it. Go for a relative unknown, just like this car sweat is relatively unknown. You know what I mean? We don't know who he is. So get an unknown actor and just have him portray a straight commit to the bit Batman. He's serious, he's focused, but he's not, I'm the Batman. I'm not obsessed. You know, just play him like the Batman the Batman, the animated series Batman, and they'll work in. He's not, you know, like I could see them like doing something and saying something, and then like Superman and Batman are staring. I don't know. I'm not setting up the joke, but I could see like Batman just being like, Warp Factor 6, Sulu. And Superman like, did you just make a joke? And Batman's like, I'm human. You know what I mean? Like that, like
maybe
not Christian Bale is too dark for this. Adam West is too goofy. And I don't like the Tim Burton, any of the Batman movies, you know, so
Robert Pattinson ain't gonna fit in this, that's for sure.
Robert Pattinson is too emo.
Mm.
And as much as I did like the Robert Pattinson movie, but it's basically a serial killer movie.
Yeah.
If Batman's going to team up with Superman and Metamorpho and Hawkgirl, I don't want a serial killer movie either. You know, like have it be like a, you know, like because you know the next movie Lex Luthor's going to be in jail and he's going to be running the jail, and there's going to be, you know, I still think he's going to have dark side technology. He's going to break out of the jail and he's going to have the armor, the purple and green George Perez armor, you know, and then Batman will figure out a way to deactivate that armor. I could see Batman and Mr. Terrific being at odds, trying to like outsmart each other. And I think that would work.
This sort of reminded me of an overbloated season finale of a CW show. They just dropped you in, no explanation of what was happening before, or, you know, just popped in the middle of the story.
But were you confused?
A little in the beginning. Well, I know who the characters are, but I'm not a normie. A normie would be confused.
My
normie
wife
would be like,
normie as normie could be, and she was not confused. Like we talked about it, like, you know, leaving the theater, like we stopped. We would talk about it in the thing. We went out to dinner and did nothing but talk about it. She got it all. You know, the only thing you didn't know was Metamorpho's name is Metamorpho because they called him the Element Man in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh. Did you like the Kents being rubes?
I didn't think they were rubes. I thought they were regular people, you know.
It seemed a little funny to me.
You know, they had down home wisdom. I like that they were like, because you could cast anybody because Superman's not biologically related to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I like that the big fat guy comes and sits down on the chair with them and, you know, and gives them some good old farm wisdom. That
part was good. That part was good. That they were a little bit stupid, I thought. I mean, they really played up the country bumpkin angle, you know?
Well, I don't know. I was gonna say
I didn't feel like they were stupid.
No, I never got that they were stupid. I thought that they were like simple in the best way of the movie.
Yeah, it is.
They're not. They don't care about their Q rating and you know, crypto coins and, you know.
And Jimmy Olsen was kind of a dick in this.
That's what I said. That's my problem with the movie. Yeah. Jimmy Olsen is fundamentally unlikable.
Yeah.
Saving the world is based on a contrivance. You know, that's my biggest problem with the movie is all of the women love Jimmy Olsen. Where did that come from?
Don't know.
The actor was not too good looking. He wasn't particularly suave. You know, he didn't have enough screen time. Like, you know what I mean? And then the only time he talked to a woman that wasn't Gaga was Lois, and you could tell that he was Gaga over Lois, and Lois didn't, you know, because he said, "You owed me," and she's like, "What?" He goes, "Big. How big?" You know, he was hinting. He was trying.
Yeah, he was kind of a creep. Yeah.
Lois was doing to him what he was doing to Miss Taskmaster. You know what I mean? She was using him, but I just didn't buy that. All of the the only setup was the first time we see Jimmy, we see those two hot girls, the black girl and the blonde, just ogling, and you think they're looking at Clark. That was the joke, And then you see that they're ogling up Jimmy. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's funny. And then he's walking down the street and all the hookers are like, yeah. But then you're like, all hookers, like, that's the way they treat anybody. And then it's Miss Taskmaster. And that surprised me. I thought it was, but there was no setup for. To me, that was just out of left field, just as much as Luke, I am your father. There was no setup for that. It just came out like either you buy it or you don't. And in this particular instance, I didn't buy that Jimmy Olsen was the Mac Daddy.
Yeah, at least I think Luke's "I Am Your Father" was a little more dramatic setup.
Right.
Like
This
was like, oh yeah, we wrote the story. How do we catch him?
Right.
Oh, we should just make them connected. Okay, good.
Because if you remember the Donner movie, Miss Taskmaster saves Superman and saves the day by getting rid of the kryptonite amulet. So I guess they wanted to do a throwback to that and have Miss Taskmaster save the day, and they kind of wrote themselves into a corner.
I kind of laughed that they made him into Elon Musk. In the 80s he was Donald Trump, and now he's Elon Musk.
Who? Jimmy Olsen?
No, Luthor.
I didn't get that at all. I just thought he was.
I got a strong Elon Musk vibe from that. I don't know why.
He was too smooth for Elon Musk. Elon Musk would be like stuttering. He was Lex Luthor to me. And then when they showed Maxwell Lord for a split second, I was ready to be like, okay, it's Donald Trump. It's like, nope, they just showed him, and he was just like, he just said a line.
I could see them taking inspirations from tech, billionaires from
because it's obvious. The one in the Snyderverse was what's the Facebook guy?
Oh yeah,
Zuckerberg. Yeah. And this one for me, I just got Elon Musk.
He has alien DNA. If not, he's turning into a deep one as we speak. Ojo's right. All men have a blind spot when it comes to their children and Heine. I addressed this. She didn't come across as a pilot, but like I said, Mr. Terrific was smart enough to make an intuitive ship that anybody could fly.
He did say it was was idiot proof in a sense. I just kind of wish maybe they showed how idiot proof it was or something, because it looked like she was literally flying, and I'm like, anytime you have to manually control things, it's not idiot proof. But I'm really nitpicking. I feel like if that's my biggest problem.
LexCorp being Luthor Corp was such a meaningless. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Luthor Corp. Yeah, they changed in the comic books. It's LexCorp, and then the movie they changed it to Luthor Corp.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Good catch. Good catch.
That is a weird change.
I mean, watch. I'll watch this again without the emotion of a kid seeing a Superman movie, and I'm sure I'll pick up things that I didn't like or whatever.
Yeah.
If it holds up a year or two.
Yeah, agreed.
But as of right now, this was picking up. This was a comic book. Other dimensions, like another nitpick was this dimensional trail is coming and it's breaking the earth.
Yeah,
and they need a computer code to shut it off, which implies, well, doesn't apply. It directly says that it's controlled by a machine somewhere.
Did you get how they reused the plot element from Superman 4?
Well, why didn't they just smash the machine that's generating this rift?
Plot.
Well, did they know where it was? I don't even. That was a weird part. I was like,
right, like so. The only way I could explain it is it's someplace within that pocket dimension that they don't have explored. They don't know. Other than that.
But John, did you get the Nuclear Man reference that they stole?
What?
That's Ultraman.
Well,
remember,
Ultraman was Bizarro.
Yeah, I know, but he was a clone of Superman. Remember,
right.
just like the Nuclear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was weird. I don't know, like it seemed like I'd seen this movie like already. I was just sitting in the theater and I was just watching it, and I didn't hate it, but I was like, deja vu. I've seen this. I know the beats. I know that's from this, that's from that, and it's like
Nuclear Man, a clone of Superman. I don't remember. I've only seen it once.
Nuclear Man, yeah. Remember they broke it. Luthor and his nephew broke into that museum. They stole a hair from the Superman display, and then it's been a long time, but yeah, and that sort of reminded me of Ultraman. I'm like, I've seen this one before too.
I knew it couldn't be Ultraman, and right away I said, "This is Doomsday," because he had, if you remember,
The
Doomsday when he
goggles.
first came on the Earth, he had the round glasses and the bandage straps. He had the Doomsday costume, so I said, "This is Doomsday," and I said, "If it's Doomsday, it's Kryptonian technology." I was like, "This is a clone of Superman Bizarro."
Did they announce that they're doing any additional movies with the Superman?
I don't know, but if they don't do a Mr. Terrific movie, they are effing up.
Yeah.
Everybody.
like Barbara.
And
I thought they
that's
did
another thing. Mr. Terrific is kind of a hokey character. He's got fair play on his arm. You know what I mean? And they did it. And they didn't wink at it. Fair play. Like that's what I was expecting. Like a Marvel movie would have been like fair play. Yeah, what's wrong with fair play? I don't know. Like they just put it on and we bought it. You know, they committed to the bit. That was my favorite part of this movie is they just, you know, like they had like weird dialogue, like Mr. Terrific and Lois just arguing inside the boom tube. You know, he's explaining gobbledygook, and they just taking it. And then you have Perry White talking to Jimmy Olsen about the news, the importance of this story inside Mr. T's flying saucer going, you know what I mean? Like it was the craziest setups, but they just did the dialogue straight. There wasn't just like, whoa, I'm gonna get sick here in this tea. You know what I mean? They just let the audience accept it. This by far was better than any Marvel movie since Endgame. What do you think? Am I being hyperbolous?
No, Marvel has done such crap movies lately that
Oh, my wife just messaged, oh my God, I'd love a Mr. Terrific movie.
Yeah.
First off, I've always loved the character Mr. Terrific from the original Mr. Terrific. I thought the handoff to the new Mr. Terrific was handled pretty well, and they built him up slowly. They didn't just Blue Marvel him, all of a sudden insist that he was the greatest. Like he earned that gravitas. That's one of my pet peeves is Tony Grigo starts writing Fart Man, and all of a sudden he makes a new bad guy who is the best, the coolest, the ultimate. Nobody can beat him and stuff like that. It's like, no, you got to earn that, you know, or at least be super crafty that I'll believe. But to just tell me that this character is the best, that don't work for me. And
yeah.
Mr. Terrific was created by was it Jay? No, not, I can't think. Ostrander.
Jeff Johns.
No, he was created by Ostrander in the Spectre. Terry Sloan, he was about to kill himself when he was visited by the Spectre.
Oh, okay.
And he became Mr. Terrific. And then he was kind of forgotten about because he was just another black replacement for a white character. And then Jeff Jones made him cool and interesting, you know? I mean, he's kind of hokey. He's got a jacket that says fair play,
Yeah.
you know? And he just put that cool mask. They got rid of the old original mask that was goofy. They put that cool T on his face. And then they got that actor that just was charismatic as F, you know what I mean? And he just delivered his lines with intensity.
Yeah, he like you said, he stuck the role. He stayed in character.
He was really good. And the one time that he was caught off guard, he got knocked out. I like that they showed he wasn't invincible.
Mm-hmm.
I really Metamorpho was so cool looking. You felt bad for him, you know. And Lex just shot that guy. You know how
I like Guy Gardner. I thought Nathan Fillion did a great job. I mean,
yeah,
that's the one that I liked. That was my favorite out of the bunch.
Yeah, Nate was surprised to see him in the movie. I didn't expect that, so that was nice.
Yeah, I like how he's willing to step in for the kids that just robbed him. Mr. Terrific was okay. I got caught up because I'm like geeking out over this movie. But first off, I'm just super happy that they treated Superman himself with respect.
Yeah.
Keep talking. I just got to get an iced tea. I've been talking too much.
It kind of bothered me that they got rid of the whole truth, justice, and the American way thing. Was it the human way now?
No,
Yeah.
they didn't say that.
They put it back.
They didn't say truth, justice, in the American way. They didn't say truth, justice, in the human. They just didn't deal with it, which I'm disappointed with.
Mm.
You know, but
because that's the thing people don't. You know, when Gunn was shooting his mouth off earlier, you know, it's an immigrant. He's a refugee immigrant that wants to assimilate. That's the story of Superman. prouder of being a Kryptonian, but he's prouder still of being an Earthling
But
slash American.
it never came up in the movie that he was
Yeah.
it never came up. Like it was just like the closest it came up is just like, oh yeah, you came here to conquer and stuff like that. And he was just like, no, I wake up, I doubt myself, and like he asserted his humanity, not his immigration status or where he was born. I think they did. Peter Gunn really, really went out of his way to make this movie seem like it was something else, which is why I hesitated on even seeing the movie. He almost Rachel Ziegler this movie,
Mhm.
and it was just a positive report. Like I've been around the block long enough to understand that with the internet, everything is either the worst or the best. You know what I mean? So people who like everything hate everybody who doesn't like it, and back and forth. And if I have like more than 4 criticisms of this movie, they'll take it as, oh, John Longsbox hates this movie. And they don't take the subtleties. I like this movie. To me, it lived and died on the fact that Superman himself was an intrinsically good guy who loved everybody. And when he said, when Lois Lane was basically like making fun of him, I'm a punk rocker. I question everything. You think everything's you're naive. You love everything. And then he just looked at her with all seriousness and just said, because everybody's beautiful. And then you could see in her face, she was a little ashamed. She was mocking him because she was the cynical punk rock girl. And in that line, without saying it, the subtext was that she had a rough life. It actually made me a little bit sympathetic. Like if she laughed off his beautiful, I wouldn't have liked her. But the fact that she got a little ashamed and be like, yeah, this guy is inspirational. Yes, he is what he says. And then they drove it home with his parents fawning over him in the bedroom. And then she's looking around and it's like, oh, he's not playing around. He does like this goofy band that I made fun of. I thought they did a really, really good job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even say that. They didn't say that. I think they just avoided the whole grenade by avoiding truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah.
Which I don't like, but I could see why they avoided it. But I'm just so happy that they treated my favorite comic book character with the dignity and respect that he deserves.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you liked it, John. It's doing well.
I'm not mad that if anybody dislikes it, I can see why people wouldn't like it.
The 78 Superman is still my favorite, but I'm an old head,
It's that movie, like I said, is a piece of art. It's a piece of American history. It's a piece of cinematic film. And because of that movie, we can make superhero movies. That movie showed all the cynics that we could make a piece of art from trash comic books.
Mm-hmm.
But so to me, the Donner Superman movie is American cinema. This is a comic book movie. There's a difference.
Yeah.
They're 2 different types of movies. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Like Casablanca is a great American film. Citizen Kane is a standard that should be taught to filmmakers. But I could still like, I'm trying to think of it, like Strange Wilderness as a goofball comedy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not explaining myself pretty well, but this movie and the Donner film are both Superman movies, and I love them both for different reasons.
Sure.
That was the first, and I'm trying to think like can I explain it in science fiction ways? Like, I don't know. The original Star Trek. I love Star Trek because it made the American people realize science fiction is a valid art form. Like these spaceship guys. But Star Trek came and changed science fiction. And I'm trying to think like 2001 came along and showed us that it's art. But I could I don't know. There's other science fiction that's just like explosions and in space and stuff like that. But where 2001 is cinema, I don't know.
You're comparing like Star Trek to Flash Gordon, right? Or Buck Rogers.
Yeah, the Flash Gordon movie is a good example. It's cheesy, it's campy, and I love it. Whereas 2001 is science fiction that's cinema and art.
Space
That's why I look
Odyssey.
at the counter film in this. This is a comic book thrown to the movie. I don't think Peter Gunn would say that this is supposed to be cinema. this is the definition of a blockbuster popcorn film.
The best thing I can give it is I wasn't pissed off like I was after I was watching most of the Snyder films. This one I left the theater like, all right, but like, he did a better job than Cavill. I'll give him that. He didn't have
what?
Huh?
He did a better job than what?
Than Cavill. Cavill was always dark and intense and weird and sort of like a mad god, more Ultraman, more, Crime Syndicate Ultraman, more Omni-Man, I guess. I didn't get the friendly vibe from this. This guy did.
Well,
This guy,
I like Cavill, so I'm gonna give Cavill.
I could see in Cavill's face. It's his face just gives off that presence more.
yeah. This guy had a more warm openness to him,
Yeah.
so I'll give him that. He sort of reminded me of Dean Cain, or the guy that plays him in Superman and Lois. Did you guys ever see that one?
Sure.
Yeah, it was one of those. Like, he didn't come off as cold like Brandon Routh or like Henry Cavill.
This guy came off as exactly what they wanted to do in the movie. I think is he was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and hopeful.
Yeah,
I don't think Cavill could have pulled that off.
no.
But I don't blame Cavill because I just like Cavill. So I think in the past 10 years, no other actor has been gotten screwed. They put him in the Witcher and then misused him. They put him in Superman and misused him. This poor guy, like, give him a role that he's like, let him be in Warhammer and let him do.
Well, he's supposedly in the next Warhammer.
Yeah,
so.
he's supposedly he's spearheading it. Let him do it. Listen to him.
And again, he would be good for that because of his features.
He's in the Highlander reboot,
and he's very like strict looking. He looks like he means business. He doesn't look like he's gonna be like a.
All right, I got Eric back.
News reporter.
Superhero movies do not need to be cinema; they need to be what they are, comic book movies. Yes, exactly. Why is she Ghost White in that still image? She's pretty pale girl.
She was a good Lois Lane, and they did have chemistry. She was a better Lois Lane than Amy Adams. I'll give her that.
As much as I love Amy Adams, is one of the most beautiful women on the planet. She was Lana Lang. I'm sorry, but redheads are Lana Lang, black-hairs are Lois Lane. She was miscast. She could not be Lois Lane. She's just not physically possible for her to be Lois Lane. And I love Amy Adams. Oh man, there's a movie with her where she comes to America and goes through these misfortunes, and she's just adorable. I loved her in The Arrival. I like her a lot, but I just didn't.
I didn't like her. Yeah,
I just didn't like her because she wasn't. I'm sorry, I can't get past a redhead as Lois Lane.
Yeah.
But why? And there's a couple of close-ups scenes where she physically resembled Margot Kidder. And I think this outfit with the purple sweater, correct me if I'm wrong, but did Margot Kidder wear like purple in the Donna film?
Oh man, I don't know. Didn't she dress up like that in the animated series? The Dana Delaney one, the one.
Yeah, I think she wore like a purple jacket and slacks.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I'm pro redhead myself too, but Lois Lane has black hair. It's like when you cast Othello. Othello's got black skin, and what's her name? Why can't I remember the woman?
Desdemona.
She's always cast as a blonde, white hair to be the complete opposite of Othello. I can't remember her name.
Is it Desdemona?
Is it Desdemona? Desdemona.
Yeah.
You explained it well. Christopher Reeve Superman was American considered culturally impact the Superman movies comic book. Yeah, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted was a Superman. They treat Superman well. Superman's a good, inspiring. Like, he changed Lois. Lois was cynical. I'm not good with relationships. He's cooking her dinner, and she's, why are you cooking me this? You like this. I don't like this. And by the end of the movie, she was just like, oh, I'm a trad wife. You inspired me to embrace my femininity kind of stuff. I liked it.
Maybe they'll make him do more Superman stuff in the sequel. maybe I'll like the sequel more.
I did
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they bring it in more bigger village, I feel like you'll see more of that. I mean,
Yeah.
you only got a little bit of that.
kaiju. He flew into another dimension and swam in a protoplasm anti-proton river. He
Yeah.
almost got sucked into a black hole. You know, and he saved a squirrel in the midst of a fight. He did Superman stuff.
Yeah,
But
no, he did.
Put what he was doing here next to what Christopher Reeve did in the first one. That's more Superman stuff, you know, getting a plane, keeping it from crashing, you know.
Superman
But,
stopped buildings from crushing people.
Yeah, I know, but he seemed too weak for me. That was my problem.
Well, that was
He
the whole
very weak.
point of the movie is that they kept empowering him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and
they used legit comic book weaknesses against him.
yeah, but the problem with Superman is it's the writer. If the writer is good, you don't have to depower him. You could write him full power, but a lot of writers, you know, they can't deal with
Lex Luthor wanted to humiliate him.
Yeah,
Part
I
of it.
guess so.
You know,
super shit. Oh man, that one made me cringe a little.
Yeah.
Hashtag
I
super
didn't
shit.
like the use of the word shit in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. You know, there's too many.
He's so petty and he's so envious that he wanted to humiliate Superman before killing him.
Yeah.
And I totally bought that. And I was just like, this is his plan. Everything about this movie, Lex Luthor has to be a formidable menace for Superman. Otherwise, there's no threat, there's no drama, there's no tension.
Yeah.
But he's not super strong. He doesn't have laser vision. So he has to be cunning and sinister. And his cunning was he planned like the whole fight. He was calling the shots for Ultraman.
That's another reason why I believe when he broke into the fortress was for the reason to corrupt the file or to find something.
I don't think he knew. Like he was surprised that he saw that file, and you know what I mean. And he was just like, "I'm going to humiliate him before I defeat him. I'm going to take away his past. I'm gonna get everybody to hate him. Like if that is an authentic message from his parents, that to me is egregiously unforgivable. But I still hold out hope that it was Lex Luthor, part of his plan to humiliate Superman.
Possibly, but if the audience has to make up stuff in their head canon, I think that's much to the detriment of the screenplay. You know,
he's a genius level man. But I love the whole speech. Was yes, I'm envious. I'm proud of my envy. You know, it was pretty good. Yep, sounds like Lex, arrogant, egotistical, petty, spiteful. Yep. And I love the line when he's just like, you know, we killed the guy who sold you falafel. He goes, I'm going to kill everybody you've ever spoke to. Maybe that next person, that reporter you're always talking to. And everybody got nervous. He goes, Clark Kent.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh my God. Yeah, I totally, because we all assumed it was going to be Lois Lane, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Like, as genius as he is, he's still arrogant enough to, there's no way you would be a mere human.
I actually like Michael Rosenbaum better. He's actually my favorite Luthor.
See, I couldn't stand that show.
Well, but he was a good Luthor, though. He really was, you know.
Gunn already doubled down and confirmed the recording wasn't fake, but he also trolled everything in the pre, you know, all we're going to say the human way. We're going to do this. It's about immigration. It's about Trump, and it wasn't. So I don't know if he's just putting one on them, you know. I don't care what the director says. I don't care what it's not in the movie. There's still an out. Eric, he's not supposed to feel like that, though. He should move with the charisma of knowing he's one of the smartest men on the planet and the entire government tied around his pinky. Yeah. Another weird criticism, as much as I like Holt, he was too physically small. You know what I mean? Like
he reminded me of Stewie Griffin from Family Guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. There was something about him that screamed Stewie. You know, when I think of Lex, I think arrogance, brilliance, but also he's calm, he's collected. You know, the way I don't know if you remember how he was in the animated series. You know, like that one in Michael.
The animated series is still by far the best portrayal of Batman and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this one reminded me of, I kept thinking he was going to talk like this, like, damn you, Lewis. He had that Stewie Griffith thing that just really I just couldn't take him seriously, He didn't seem menacing to me. He just seemed sort of smarmy,
My wife just said that she just couldn't understand how he could get a whole room full of people to be against Superman like that. Like they were cheering as Superman got beaten. And I'm just like,
because of plot.
well, I didn't think, I was just like, there could be a guy right now just peeing the cure for cancer and 20% of the people would hate him. I mean, like Lex Luthor went and trolled.
Yeah.
One thing that did pull me out of the movie the dimensional rift is wrecking the Luthor Core building, and the pod ejects and they go to fly away, and then the black guy Otis goes, "Safety first, everybody!" Like, really? Lex Luthor cares about safety first for his employees.
Yeah.
That's called Marvel humor.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
see
it was. Yeah.
for humor. Like if it was played for humor, it was not funny.
Yeah.
That's Marvel humor. Yeah.
It felt like it was supposed to be a humor moment, but it didn't come off well.
And then that dog, my God, I love Crypto, but man, he was a pain in the ass. And I grew up with dogs all my life, It's like, I don't know. I think there was a little too much Crypto in this, just a tiny bit, When he grabs Superman, he starts shaking him. It reminded me of that part in the first Avengers where the Hulk grabs Loki and goes bam, 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 bam. It's just sort of.
I like Crypto. I really like Crypto. I like that he was a dog. Like like he should have been more intelligent to be the actual Crypto, but he was just a dog with superpowers.
Yeah,
kind of scared. But here's one plot problem. Here's one mistake that I've noticed. When Superman's fighting Ultraman and he realizes that he's being recorded by Luthor, and he starts whistling. Crypto should have went to Lex Luthor because that's where the whistling was coming from.
Yeah,
that whistling was going into those little.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
You know what I mean? And so Crypto, and I was like, "This is brilliant, Superman." Because he's just going to whistle, and then Crypto is going to come in and take out the councils, and then Ultraman is going to be mindless. He doesn't know what to do.
But at the same point, I think I'd be. I think I'd.
Mistake.
Yeah, well, I thought that was going to happen, but in hindsight, being that the dog's so untrained, if it did do all of that,
but that's where the sound was coming from. The sound went through those drones and was transmitted through Lex Luthor's thing,
or came from his lips, and he went to the source.
Right. You know what I mean? But that would have been, to me, that would have been a little bit more clever. That the dog,
yeah, it would have been clever.
You're recording me, you're hearing, because he even said that you're watching me, you can hear everything, and then he whistled.
Yeah,
that would have been great if Crypto went to LexCorp's headquarters and just started wrecking everything right there. And now they lost everything. The dog's just ripping apart wires, playing like he thinks he's playing fetch. And then, but maybe it would have solved the problem too fast. I don't know. Or maybe
I would have loved it. Yeah.
But it's 9:45. I got to wake up at 5 a.m. for work.
Well, good talking with you, John.
Well, okay, let's just go run down. I loved it. It's my favorite Superman movie. Dave, what about you?
I agree. I think it's one of the better ones.
I'm a 3 out of 10 for me. Like, I'm glad I watched it, but I don't think I'm going to revisit it ever again. It was all right.
So it's your least favorite of all the Superman movies?
Yes. No. I lie. Superman 3 and 4 still suck worse. So I think it's like 3 and 4, and then this one, and then the rest.
Okay. All right. Well, the TV shows, I don't think I watched any of them.
Superman and Lois is good, man. If you could check that out, that's great.
Tell me that was good.
It was very good.
Lois and Clark I didn't like because it was just a Superman that happened to have, it was a soap opera that happened.
That was a rom-com.
Yeah, I didn't particularly like that.
Yeah.
And Smallville, I hated. I actively hated Smallville.
I hated Smallville as well.
Yeah, I had a little sister at the time. She was in love with it. I watched it with her. I just dug Lex. I thought next to the one in the animated series, the Michael Rosenbaum Lex was exactly what I thought of as Lex Luthor: calm, collected, mean. Just
Eric
cold.
Guapa says 3 out of 10. You put ketchup on steak.
Yeah, I also put ketchup in hot dogs too.
Just to that, Eric, Tony Grigo probably puts ranch dressing on his pizza.
I do.
You see, I do. That's what I'm doing.
That's funny.
And I eat my French fries with mayonnaise as well.
Yes, I agree with Eric. Superman the animated series is my favorite Superman. Paradoxically, I don't like an all-powerful Superman. But if there's going to be an all-powerful character, I want it to be Superman, because you're not afraid of an all-powerful Superman. If you're afraid of Superman, you're doing it wrong. But this movie, I'll accept, because Lex Luthor is such a manipulator, and that you know what I mean? And then the people were quick to forgive. Because to me, that was commentary on internet culture.
It was a little too quick on how quickly everyone turned on him. That was probably one of my. Now that I think about that scene, everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's amazing," and then like this news report's like, his family sent him here to do bad things.
All I can think of is they missed, if they wanted to do Marvel style humor or crude humor, they missed out on the most obvious joke in the world. When they found out he came here to have a harem, they should have found some women like, I'll be in Superman's harem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They could have found a bunch of like women like, where can I sign up for this harem?
And obviously everybody forgets Wally Wood's infamous Man of Steel, Woman of Tissue.
Yeah. Women, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but I gotta go. I gotta get to bed.
Good night, John.
Good night. Nice
about it
talking
while
to you.
I'm
Good night, Tony.
Nice talking.
Yeah, it's always good to talk. I just wanted to talk about that. I normally don't stream at Sunday nights, but I wanted to talk about it while I was still excited about seeing the movie. I'm just so relieved that they treated Superman with the dignity that he deserved. My only character, Jimmy Olsen, is just unlikable.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Good night. Thanks. Good chatting with you.
Good seeing you, everybody. Bye, everybody. All right. Put comment in the comments later what you guys thought of the movie. All right. Bye-bye.